about space. We got our first, or actually our second look at Alien Covenant that showed us much from that world. But we also got another trailer for Guardians of the Galaxy. Friends, I am Roth Cornett. This is Screen Junkies News. This here is the Matt Key.
I'm the Matt Key, apparently.
I think I'm the resident Guardian obsessed, deep, passionate lover of the Guardians. You are a resident,
I'm just the
deep Marvel expert.
I'm just a Marvel nerd through and through.
I say expert.
Thank you. Thank you. I like being called expert, but there's so many lofty expectations with expert. I prefer aficionado, perhaps.
Well, bear that weight, sir, because we are counting on you to break this down for us bit by bit.
I'll try my best.
We're going to get into the trailer. First of all, overall thoughts really quickly, and then we're going to get into some specifics from the trailer. I loved this, triply excited. Yeah. We had seen a little bit of what we're going to see here in this trailer at the very end at Comic-Con when they showed footage from Guardians that hadn't yet been released.
We were both there. We've been the only people in here who have been like, no, but that is what Kurt Russell looks like.
Yeah, it's going to get amazing. And it gets amazing here. So we will get into it right now. Some of this we've seen before, but we're getting, first of all, can we talk about this?
We have a new poster. James Gunn tweeted this out, and I think he just said, new poster, you're welcome, or something like that.
Thank you.
And yeah, thank you. It looks like a recently unearthed, 80s
David,
album.
This looks like a hidden Bowie album. This looks like Ziggy Stardust actually in space.
This looks like what was in David Bowie's imagination when he was doing Ziggy Stardust. This is what he was imagining.
This is what Ziggy Stardust dreams about.
Yeah, I think that the whole poster is great. My favorite thing about it, though, is the pose that Chris Pratt is striking.
Because it's just so unabashedly...
it's so unabashedly badass, but he's
glam rock kind of.
Yeah, he's like, here I am, but he's also shooting so it's like he's dancing and protecting the universe at the same time.
And of course, how perfect, and it is a character that we will get into in a little bit, but how perfect is it that Kurt Russell plays his father, who is Ego.
Yeah, perfect. And it's perfect casting, really.
This is perfect. What do you guys think of the poster? We've been hearing some mixed things so far. I am all in on this. This is the exact, I think, vibe that you want from your Guardians movie. Let us move forward.
Yeah, let us. There's a whole trailer to talk about. So it starts off with Quill saying, hope you're ready. It'll be here any minute. And he's holding a tracker. Have no idea what it does, but it's apparently tracking this giant obelisk that we soon see. But before we see it, he has an awkward moment with Gamora saying, is that a rifle? And she's like, you've seen a rifle. You know what it is. You're like, you're the swords.
Guns.
I was the guns. And I think that you can see, so from everything that I've heard and everything else, rumors, plot, this and that, this is where the film starts, is them helping the sovereign race fight against this obelisk. This obelisk is a giant space thing, comes down, it's draining their batteries. I think that's what they're protecting there. Yeah, it's an interdimensional space squid. It can hop between dimensions. And it pokes out here and it's stealing their batteries.
So
their energy source. And I think they're on a platform that creates energy. I think that's what all the weird glowy yellow things are behind them. I think it's coming to feed on those things, and they're there to
capture it,
defeat it, stop it from attacking their energy.
So do we know that what he's holding is a tracker, or does it power up what they're standing on so that they know it will attract the obelisk?
I don't know. I have no idea. He looks at it and says,
get ready.
Get ready. My guess is it's a tracker. But he has an awkward moment with Gamora where it seems like all of a sudden she's a gun person and now he's like, wait, that was my thing. I think that that's kind of our first maybe inklings that maybe there's a crush there. Maybe there's a romance on his side, maybe not on her side. It's not reciprocated just yet.
I think we were feeling that a little bit in Guardians 1, and it's going to continue to play out here. Let's take a first look at our but it seems like that's the first hint in this trailer.
Yeah, I thought so. Whether he knows it or not, I think maybe he's starting to kind of come around to the idea that maybe he has feelings. And then this is great. This is such a perfect comic book shot. Rocket just what is that? And then we got, Baby Groot in the background. ready to do his thing.
The face that launched $1,000. Now here's our space squid, Obelisk.
Yeah. So here's what I like about this. Everything that we've seen thus far from the trailers has been this Obelisk is like floating through space amorphously. But here we have it like thudding onto the platform and like squiddling towards them. And I just think that's great. Like, I don't know why I like that so much. I was just like, oh, it doesn't float. It's not flying through space. It actually hits the platform and
I like the idea that space is like it's water, and then when it lands, maybe it's a little more awkward when it's fighting on the land.
I love that. But I think one of the best things is, Drax running at it and jumping in and laughing as he does so. I love that. So
let's move forward. Okay, so here's little baby Groot getting into everything, and he is, from everything that we've seen, look at that. My God, it's amazing.
It's really adorable.
He's just a rapscallion.
Yeah.
Now, you remember there was the footage of him maybe setting off a bomb, and Rocket was teaching him not to do that. What do we have here?
I actually really like to think that Quill brought down speakers and is playing.
And he's just like, let's get the music going.
Is playing the chain. And I think maybe Groot's job, like since he's a baby, they can't actually put him in the combat, but he wants to help because he's a team member. So I think they were probably like, Groot, you just plug in the speakers when we're ready to fight. Just do that.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what they're doing.
I like giving him that little job because in the olden times of war, that would be the drummer boy.
Yeah, he's a little drummer boy. Groot's a little drummer boy.
He's beating the beats of war.
Yeah.
He's the war DJ.
And it's Fleetwood Mac's The Chain.
Yeah.
Who knew? So we've seen this in previous trailers when the last trailer that we got, where we got our first look at Elizabeth Debicki as Aisha. Also known as Her or Kismet or Paragon in the comics.
Nobody more perfect to be cast as a genetically engineered, self-engineered perfect being. Nobody. This is great casting.
And she just has so much like sovereignty to her and command. And all over these images, she has this quote. I've got it written down here. Let me see. She says, "I see it within you. Fear, jealousy, betrayal. It is our duty to cleanse the universe of this weakness." We've heard rumors, I can't remember who said it, but that Aisha and her race called the Sovereign, the self-named Sovereign race, starts to chase after the Guardians.
Right.
I've heard a rumor that it's because Rocket actually takes something from them, but they chase after them. They're like there's two factions chasing after the Guardians, and the Sovereign race is one of them. And I think this is where that starts. And it doesn't help that Rocket, it being his sarcastic self, says, they told me you people were conceited douchebags, but that isn't true at all. And then he winks with the wrong eye so she can see he's being sarcastic, as if she couldn't already tell. But yeah.
So, quick self-correction. Sure. When Rocket was teaching Groot not to blow up, it was the button that he was not meant to press.
Do not push.
Do not push.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
So
push.
He
runs away. Yeah.
Yeah. Good. So here is what we were theorizing about earlier, is that they were making a trade. So they killed the Obelisk for them, and in order to get, we're about to see a long lost family, because this movie is all about family. If we move forward to the next image, long-lost sister.
We've heard a rumor that...
Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you, Jonathan. We heard a rumor that Nebula was captured by the Sovereign race. The Guardians found out about it, and the Sovereigns offered her as payment if they would help get rid of this Obelisk problem of theirs. She is their boon. She's their booty.
Which is so interesting because, and I think we talked about this previously, they had released a little prequel comics, a very short comic series about this relationship between the two sisters, adoptive sisters. Yeah. And it was so interesting to me, and I felt like I didn't see enough of that play out in the last film. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that play out here because, of course, there's a strong rivalry. They had a lot of trauma. With their adopted father.
With an adopted father named Thanos? That seems a little strange. It seems like he'd be really good.
But it's a lot, but it's weird because I think that there's probably thematically things that a lot of people can relate to in their own families, but heightened and in space.
And we're going to see, like, we'll get to this as we get further into it, but I do think that we're going to see some really big fights between these sisters.
And then maybe
on an
also
epic, gigantic scale. So,
and a reconciliation question.
Probably
I think so. It looks like that.
I mean, especially since Nebula is on set filming for Infinity War. My guess is that there's some semblance.
She is now. Well, we know she's going to be a guardian,
and she becomes a guardian. Like we've got those hero shots at the end of the end of the trailer. So yeah.
So let us move forth.
Yes, let us move. So here we can see Gamora is just like I don't know what to make of how she's looking. Like she's disappointed, like in her sister, like. Maybe she's happy to get her sister back, doesn't know what to do with her sister, but...
I mean, I think it's all of that, and that's what I was alluding to. We won't belabor this too much more, but I think that's what I was alluding to, is that she has these very mixed feelings, because obviously they've spent a lot of time competing and trying to kill each other a little bit in various forms. But I think that she also relates to her. This is one of the only people that can relate to what her experience was.
Yeah. No, she's like, oh, this is my sister. This is what I've got to deal with. Yeah. So
if we move forward.
So yeah, we've got this one.
Take it, Jonathan.
This one is interesting because we have those shots later of Yondu and Rocket and Groot all escaping the Ravagers. And Yondu has the bigger mohawk. So I think that we can start kind of piecing together some of the sequencing of some of these scenes. I think probably what happens is, the Guardians get away from the Sovereign Race with Nebula. Maybe Rocket stole something from them, maybe not. But for whatever reason, the Sovereign are chasing them. I think the Guardians come to this planet as a way to get away. The Ravagers find them. And Yondu comes after Rocket. I think maybe that's when they're all, like Yondu and Rocket and Groot get separated from the rest of the team, taken up in the Ravagers, and they have to meet up with them later. And
they have to escape. And we've seen...
I think so, yeah. That's my theory right now.
The escape, we've seen...
We saw the escape at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
So, like, the escape is when...
So let's not get into that maybe too much, because of that
footage,
that footage hasn't been released just yet. But if we move forward into what is in this trailer. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, this is the first time we've seen the Sovereign Race flying these ships, which says to me that these are Sovereign ships and they're like coming out of warp. So like these are probably the ships that are chasing the Guardians all over the galaxy. But we have seen, I think maybe Yondu and Star-Lord flying one of these ships before. So at some point they steal one, or I don't know what happens, but
they either steal one or maybe they are using one when they've made the arrangement with them, and or they break the deal in some manner.
Yeah, but this is the first time that we've seen like, oh, these are Sovereign ships, and it's the only reason I'm really even pointing it out is because like in future stuff, like future trailers, and we can go back and look at other trailers and see like. Start kind of putting some of these puzzles. This is like just a new puzzle piece for me.
And we can continue on.
So I think this is one of the best shots of Rocket ever. I just had to include, like, there's nothing like, it's just a great shot of Rocket. Like he's winking. He's like, it was hilarious, right? Oh, geez, she saw me do that. That's not good.
Okay.
You've got a lot to say on this one, I know.
I do, because he appears to be, and correct us if we're wrong, he appears to be eating M&Ms. Now, how are you letting your growing tree baby, your little tree baby plant baby, eat some M&Ms? That is not a nutritious meal for him.
I think maybe it's trail mix.
I don't think that's trail mix.
M&M's trail mix?
So this is the point, is that, and I think as we go forward, we're going to see this even more, that the family dynamics in this film are, and you can go to the next image that I think shows him crawling around.
Yeah.
So that Star-Lord is the dad that does not want to be dad at all.
And Gamora's the mother, which we see a great clip of later.
Yeah. And then the question that Matt and I have for you, and you need to solve for us, is who is the drunk uncle? Because in my mind, Rocket is most certainly the drunk uncle.
It is so. No. I see Ann. No, Ann, you're both wrong. Rocket is not the drunk uncle. Rocket is the cool older brother who like graduated. Like high school and has moved on to college and is now like experimenting. Drax is the drunk, crazy, weird uncle.
Okay, I think that both Rocket and Drax, because I think Rocket to be the brother, he's like Groot's brother when Groot is grown up.
Yeah.
But when Groot is a baby, he's nurturing him, he's helping to raise him, he's guiding him.
Like the older brother.
Like the uncle who is also crazy and really inappropriate and drunk all the time. The
drunk, crazy uncle would not take care of the baby. He would be drunk and say inappropriate things, exactly like Drax.
I think Drax is not the drunk uncle. Drax is the other uncle that's like Uncle Joey, who's like a little touched by the angels, but we love him.
No,
we do love Uncle Joey. We do. Touched by the angels. We love him.
Drax is clearly the drunk, weird uncle.
You guys settle it in comments.
You settle it.
I'm happy for him to be brother uncle. That's weird. Let's move on.
Yeah, let's not say brother uncle.
Next image.
I don't even want to try to figure out how that would work. So we see like Rocket sets a trap. I think this is probably on the same planet where they end up meeting Ego. And I don't know if maybe, I think this is, maybe he gets captured after all of this. So I think Rocket is trying to set some traps for the Ravagers. Then Yondu comes down, captures him, and they take off. And then the Ravagers mutiny against him. And also, I don't know for sure, but I almost wonder if this is Taserface before his face gets messed up. Like, because I think that looks like the actor Chris Sullivan, but I might be wrong. I should have looked that up earlier, but now that I'm seeing, I'm like,
you guys let us know what you think. I'm going to be honest with you right now, and I will endeavor to do that most of the time. The light's directly in my eyes, and I can't see.
Yeah, it's tricky to see the images, yeah.
But we can move on to the next image, and you guys let us know if you see that.
So here again, we see that like Peter Quill is basically up against an entire sovereign race,
which is
all the sovereign ships, you know. So yeah.
Okay, let us move forward. Yeah, I mean, because we know, and this is the interesting thing, is like we were talking about earlier. By the end of this movie, and this is what I'm curious about, and I would love your thoughts. By the end of this movie, all of the Guardians, which we know will now include Nebula and Yondu, we know that they are in Infinity War. And so by the end of this movie, we're getting fact checks at the same time. So if you see me doing this, that's why. What is sending them on a course to Earth to meet up with the Avengers? Question.
I don't know. I mean, James Gunn has said that there's like
this movie is totally self-contained. So how is that going to work?
I think maybe they hear rumblings of something that's going on Earth, kind of in the same way that there was kind of almost a throwaway, like at the very end of the first Guardians, there was this throwaway of them telling Peter that they don't know, they haven't seen him, like something like him in ages. Like he's like this weird celestial being or part celestial being. Like it's this weird throwaway of like, who was your dad? Yeah. And it was just that one tag that was all we needed.
And then we knew that was going to be leading us here.
I think that there's a possibility that they'll hear Thanos is going to Earth and they'll be like, he's what?
And then, right, because now the sisters are going to be like, we can't have it.
United. They've got to help, like, and now
they're the only
Drax
ones who know how to fight him, who know him well enough.
So, like, now there's 3 people who are all going to want to go to Earth just for Thanos, and then Quill's going to want to go and defend it.
Yeah, Peter's going to want to go defend his homeland, and the two, they're going to want to go get back at their dad. They're going to want to protect Earth from him, and they're going to be the only ones to know him. Okay, I think we've solved it.
But I think just knowing where Thanos is going to be will be enough for 3 of the Guardians.
Yeah. Well, and the rest, they're united. They'll go together.
They're all united, but like 3 of the guys, like Gamora, Nebula, and Drax are going to be like, we know where he's at. Let's go. And then Quill's going to be like, it's my home. Of course we're going, you know, so.
Yeah, Drax is going to be like, let's get him. Yeah. All right, so let's move on.
Yeah, we got a great shot of Rocket when he has that great line like, we're saving the galaxy twice. Now we'll get paid twice as much. Like it's a classic Rocket, classic older brother stuff.
Drunk uncle. So
I am so curious as to what this is. Like we've seen this. This is the second time I think we've seen this in a trailer. I want to know, like, is this the core of Ego? Is this Ego? Like, what is going on? Like, what is this planetoid figure?
We get a look at them, and if we keep scrolling through the images a little bit.
Yeah, see, like, because Rocket and Groot aren't wearing space masks. Quill is wearing his, but he also wears that just in combat in general.
He does, and
neither one of them are wearing space masks, so I don't think they're in space.
And just to have you guys point out, you might not be able to see it, so zoom in a little bit. That is Groot on top of Rocket, looking adorable and flying through we don't know what, but apparently.
I almost wonder if this is like the core, like the core of Ego, like getting like towards the end of the film. I think maybe Aisha and the Ravagers, who have both been chasing the Guardians, track them down to Ego, and maybe like Ego is like this thing that they've need to destroy or been after. And you know, there's been rumors that Ego actually ends up being the big bad. Yeah. Maybe this is them trying to figure out how to.
Okay, well, that's unacceptable for me. Because we know how I feel about Kurt Russell. We just want to clarify in case you guys, I'm sure you already know this, but Ego is played by Kurt Russell, who is Star-Lord's dad and is also a living planet. So Star-Lord could, in fact, be on the terrain that is his father.
Yes.
So there is nothing weird or traumatizing about that.
Which also means that he's partially related to the terrain that he's walking on, which means that he may have that planet in his DNA.
Yeah. Huh. All right, if we move on. So this is also, we're speculating, is this Ego? Or are they on Ego foot? Because first of all,
Ego? Like, he could build any structure he wanted.
Yeah.
Really, like, he's his own planet.
He's his own planet, and if it was a planet that was Kurt Russell, it would be this beautiful.
Yeah.
And it would be a planet of love. Russell. And the other thing that I noticed is on this planet, they do seem to be like in better moods and kind of just nicer and more lovey and happier in the footage. And you guys tell us what you think. They, to me, feel like they are just lightened up when they are on this planet. And I feel like maybe that's Ego trying to tell his son to like give them the good positive feelings to become a better family.
Yeah. I mean, it's entirely possible, but it is nice to see.
I am reading a lot into that.
You really want this to be a big, happy family, despite having a drunk uncle.
With a bit of snark and a drunk uncle.
A bit of snark. I do like that they're dancing, though. And like, I really like the idea of the two of them getting together and at some point, like finding some common ground for a romance of some sort. Yeah. You know, I like that. I like the idea of that. They're both dangerous rapscallions. Yeah. It works, right?
Yeah.
So
who else is going to take them?
Yeah. All right. I've got a theory here. So I think that's the Milano.
Yes. I like this theory.
So Gamora's there in the foreground. We've seen her in another previous trailer holding that giant laser cannon and screaming. So she's firing at this ship that looks like the Milano. Now, it's entirely possible that it's just a Ravager ship that Nebula stole. But later in the trailer, we see Nebula flying a ship. And the way it's edited, at least, it makes it look like Nebula is attacking Gamora. And I know we heard plot rumors a couple weeks ago that suggest that they get Nebula away from the Sovereign. The idea initially was to take her to Xandar for the Nova Corps to face justice, but also to keep her safe and for Gamora and the rest of the team to know where she's at. She's on Xandar. It's fine. We're good. She's being treated safe. She's good. She's in good hands, but she's a criminal and she's behind bars. But Ravagers attack, Sovereign chase after them. Everything falls apart and Nebula is able to get away, attacks the Guardians to get away, and then has a change of heart eventually and comes back to help the team. Yeah. I think this is her attempt to get away. And in her attempt to get away, she's literally flying a pirate ship at her sister and shooting at her sister.
Which is just like her and like their relationship. I like that theory a lot. But yeah, I think maybe she doesn't immediately turn back, but maybe she comes back later when they're in real crisis and she realizes that they need her help. Plus, she said, we can move on, Jonathan. Thank you. I like that she at a certain point in the trailer is like, you guys are always at each other, and paraphrasing, you're always at each other's throats. You're not a family or you're not friends. And then Drax says, no, we're family. And that's how family do.
Yeah, no, and that's absolutely true. And I mean, we'll get to that later, but we got Drax here in bubble wrap. He's in like space bubble wrap.
Sure.
I don't know why he's in space bubble wrap, but he's outside the ship. You can see the Milano behind him flying and like some tractor beam kind of thing. And they make it look like he's trying to blow up this ship that looks kind of like an alien xenomorph.
We've got xenomorphs on the mind.
Just everywhere. They're everywhere. They're in the studio. Then we've got the cutest shot ever. Of Baby Groot.
Hi.
He's just like so friendly, so happy.
And then this is what's amazing is that, like we were saying, this is the mom and she's having this moment. What a mom. I would love for this. Can she adopt me? Because she's busy blowing things up and being a badass, but she still has time to wave at her boy.
Yeah.
Hi. Yeah. You're doing so good playing the music while we fight the war.
Yeah. And like, again, like James Gunn, or maybe it was Chris Pratt, has said like Gamora is a mother to Groot. And she's happy to be that and to play that role. And here we see like, Baby Groot's like, hi, Mom, do you need help? And she's like, sweetheart, Mommy's busy.
Mommy's busy blowing things up.
Mommy loves you, but Mommy's busy.
But you're doing so good.
You know, she's like, you're Mommy's special boy. And then we've got Rocket. We've got a repeat of like from the first film. We have that here where he lands, cocks his gun. And this, again, like,
Mantis.
I feel like that's towards the end of the film when like Rocket and I think that entire team lands kind of like the second act, third act break. I think that's what's going on there.
All right.
We've got Mantis. You can barely see Drax in the background there, but this scene, like the environment behind her seems to be very similar to what Rocket and Groot and Star-Lord were flying into on their jetpacks. So I think this is all in that one scene. Whatever they're trying to do.
Core.
Yeah, core. It doesn't. I don't think it's in outer space. I really don't. I think it's probably like inside Ego.
Core of Ego.
Yeah. Or like it inside of him somewhere. I think. So yeah. See. So the scene right before this, we had Gamora or Nebula flying this ship, and then flying down towards Gamora. Gamora's running away. So I think she's trying to take out her sister. I think these sisters are at each other's throats by this point. And everything that we've ever heard from Zoe Saldana or Karen Gillan or James Gunn about those two characters in this entire film is that their dynamic is very much like at each other's throats the entire film. And I think...
Have you ever had a sister and been a girl?
No. Well, I have a brother and I'm a boy.
Well, I have a brother and who knows? Who's to say, really? I leave it to you to decide, just like the drunk uncles.
Internet.
But I have been in a relationship that is sisterly.
Yeah.
And it's very complicated, I assure you.
Okay, well, I will have to take your word for it.
So that's what I mean, but that's what I'm saying. That's what I love about this movie. It's obviously incredibly heightened.
Yeah.
And it's a talking raccoon and baby tree plant. But still, it's so relatable in that way. It's probably more relatable than the version of perfect families that we see so often. Speaking of perfect, look at that. If I say that has to be Ego because it's too beautiful not to be Kurt Russell.
I want that to be Ego. I really, really do. I think that it is. Because I was wondering earlier, because you see that plaza down there, I was wondering if that was maybe like the planet where the Sovereigns live, and maybe that platform is where they attack the Obelisk, but I don't remember seeing everything else behind it. So I think this is a different planet from the Sovereign race. And then we've got all this stuff.
Bubbles.
Yeah, like I think this is... I want to believe that this is Ego.
I think so too. And I think that I'm telling you, these bubbles, there's some kind of love bubble.
You think they're a love bubble? Like they just float around and make everyone fall in love with each other. Of course, if Ego being Ego can create anything out of his self that he wants.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, he creates himself out of the planet's surface, basically. So we've got Nebula saying, like, this is where she's like, you're at each other's throats all the time. You're not friends. And then Drax is like, we're family. Except for maybe her. And again, like, this looks like it's on the Sovereign planet. I think that's where this is. I think this is after they've semi-rescued her, kind of like transferring her to another prison kind of thing. That's my opinion here on that particular shot. Then we've got the hero shot. I'd like to point out that Yondu has his giant mohawk now. Mm-hmm. He did not have that in the scene where he was up against Rocket.
Yeah.
So that's why I think Yondu captures Rocket and Groot. They get to the ship. The Ravagers mutiny. He's like, all right, I'm going to get my bigger mohawk and I'm going to kill everybody.
Yeah.
So
they escape. And then in this shot, again, like, this is when they are clearly a united front.
Yeah.
This is the shot that says, these are your guardians. Although in the back.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like there's stuff blowing up and yeah, I don't know. But I love the shot. I love seeing Rocket with jetpacks because that's the way he's depicted in comics all the time. So seeing him that way is always, I love that. It makes my little nerd heart sing. And
here we go with the shot that launched 1,000 doves of joy. For me.
No, and like you and I we'd seen the Comic-Con footage. We saw this at Comic-Con. This is how they announced who Kurt Russell was playing.
Yes, at Comic-Con. So if we even scroll forward, Jonathan, just look, there he is. So he comes out and he says, "I'm your dad." And of course he is. And look, when we knew that Kurt Russell was cast in the movie, there was nobody else that he was going to play because it just makes so much sense. Chris Pratt and Kurt Russell, I think, are similar in the sense that they are action stars who are also really funny and that are very, very charming and just endlessly likable. So there was no one else that could have played his dad.
Totally agree. And even Chris Pratt has gone on to say, we're similar people. Like I am kind of right now, like the Kurt Russell from 25, 30 years ago. Like I'm like that kind of like go-to everyman action star that Kurt Russell was, you know, like you could very easily see Chris Pratt in like Big Trouble in Little China or something, you know, like you could totally see that. So to have these two like acting opposite each other as like father and son, I think it's really perfect casting. What can I say? I haven't seen the film yet, but it feels like it's perfect casting.
It's 100%. So those are our thoughts. Matt, thank you for your wisdom and your expertise and for breaking this down.
Of course. I went to school for this. So
yeah, I mean, there's a PhD in Marvel that you guys should investigate.
Yeah.
Look, honestly, this is great. I feel like we've all learned a lot tonight. That's a great summary of what probably is going to happen in this movie. And I'm going to ask you guys this as a final question. Speculation is one of my favorite things to do. So we do this here. You love it. I love it. But do you sometimes feel like you're either going to disappoint yourself if the movie that you've created in your mind doesn't happen, or if it does, you already made it up so you know what's going to happen?
I like being surprised when I'm wrong.
Okay. I love speculation because it's making up stories, and I'm usually happily surprised once I see the movie, and I think that this will happen here as well. Let us know what you thought of the trailer in the comments. Thanks for watching. Are you pumped? We are. Click these boxes for more SJ News. Like, tweet, click the logo to subscribe, and we will see you again soon.